meeting this October 26th, 2021. I'm pleased to share that we have Imam Bashir Mundi of West Cobb Islamic Center to provide our invocation, which will be followed by Officer Taylor with our pledge. For all of those willing and able, please stand and rise for our invocation and pledge.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I seek refuge with Allah Almighty, our Lord and God and Cherisher and Creator, from all diabolical evil. And I begin with the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. I begin by quoting from chapter 30 of the Quran, verse 17 to 27, the Romans. So glory be to Allah when you reach eventide and when you rise in the morning. Yes, to him belongs all praise in the heavens and on the earth, and in the late afternoon and when the day begins to decline. It is he who brings out the living from the dead and brings out the dead from the living, and who gives life to the earth after it is dead. And thus shall ye be brought out from the dead. Among his signs is this, that he created you from dust, and then behold, you are human beings scattered far and wide. And among his signs is that he created for you mates from among yourselves, that you may dwell in tranquility with them, and he has put love and mercy between your hearts. Verily, in this are signs for those who reflect. And among his signs is the creation of the heaven and the earth, and the variations in your languages and your colors. Verily, in that are signs for those who know. And among his signs is the sleep that you take by night and by day, and the quest that you make for livelihood out of his bounty. Verily, in that are signs for those who hearken. And among his signs, he shows you the lightning by way both of fear and of hope. And he sends down rain from the sky, and with it gives life to the earth after it is dead. Verily, in that are signs for those who are wise. And among his signs is that the heavens and the earth stand by his command. Then when he calls you by a single call from the earth, behold, you straightway come forth. To him belongs every being that is in the heavens and on the earth. All are devoutly obedient to him. It is he who begins the creation, then repeats it. And for him it is most easy. To him belongs the loftiest similitude in the heavens and the earth. For he is exalted in might, full of wisdom. O Allah, our Lord, our God, our cherisher, our sustainer, our creator. We pray that this nation, as it lives through a time of great division, you bring her peoples closer to finding common grounds. O Allah, we pray that with the great diversity of her peoples, of different races, different tongues, different cultures, different faiths, different ages, different social backgrounds, different economic standings, different ideologies and perspectives on life and reality, that you inspire us all to see but the human in the other. O Allah, we pray. O Allah, we pray to you in the words that you reveal in the Quran, chapter 49, verse 13. O humanity, verily we have created you from male and female, and we have made you into nations and ethnic communities, that you may better know each other. Verily the noblest amongst you are those amongst you that are most conscious of God. This esteemed team of leaders entrusted with the responsibility of stewardship of important affairs for the great Cobb County of Georgia. O Allah, we pray that you guide them in every instance to uphold this sacred trust with the highest sense of humility, duty, and increased capacity. We pray for all the oppressed peoples of the world that you give them aid. We pray for all the displaced peoples of the world that you give them shelter and a safe place. We pray for all the deceased, that you show them your mercy and your grace. We pray for all the oppressors of the world, that you change them or that you deal with them. We pray for the sick and the frail, that you grant them complete healing. We pray for the distressed and the hopeless of the world, that you give them hope. We pray for all that are grieving, that you give them comfort. We pray for all that are lost, that you give them guidance. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, the most gracious, the most merciful, the master of the day of judgment. You alone do we serve and worship, and you alone do we ask for aid. Guide us always on the path that is straight, the path of those whom you have shown your favor and benevolence, not the path of those who have gone lost or have earned thy wrath. Ameen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that invocation and addressing the need for us to come together and recognize our common humanity. To the officer, thank you for providing our pledge. Today, I am pleased that we have 4 presentations today, and so I officially call this meeting to order. And then we can move directly into our presentations, with the first one being brought by Commissioner Burrell. We have a special guest with us today who will receive a Legislative Service Award brought by the ACCG. May our awardee please join us up front, along with any representatives from ACCG. And if there's anyone that the awardee or guest would like to join him up front, please do. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I have the honor tonight of introducing you to Kathleen Bowen from ACCG. And we're here tonight to honor Bert, and she's going to tell you a little bit about the award. And we're also honored to have our State Senator Lindsey Tippins and State Rep Don Parsons with us as well. Kathleen?
Good. Can I take my mask off to speak?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, I'm Kathleen Bowen, and I am here on behalf of the Association County Commissioners of Georgia. We are an organization that represents all 159 counties in the state, and every year we go out and we thank the legislators that had legislation either proactively or defensively that helped county governments in this state. So former Representative Bert Reeves, he was elected in, 2014, and it took his retirement from the General Assembly for me to get down here to present him an award. But he did make an impact for counties his last session, and the bill in particular that we're here to thank him for was House Bill 511, and this bill dedicated 9 trust funds. And 2 of those trust funds dealt with the Hazardous Waste Trust Fund and the Solid Waste Trust Fund. So previously, up to 60% of the fees from those trust funds were going to the general fund. Well, the General Assembly stopped that practice with the passage of House Bill 511, and these fees that are the dollar fee you pay for your tire now will be truly used to clean up leaking landfills or to clean up the scrap tire piles that we find across the state. So that is the one bill that I'm here to thank former Representative Bert Reeves for, but he's done many other things. And so we are very happy to present to you with the 2021 ACCG Legislative Service Award. And this is, I'll tell you what it is. It is a picture of the Cobb County Courthouse. And at the bottom it says, in recognition of your support for sound public policy benefiting Georgia counties. So thank you, Representative Reeves.
Thank you, Kathleen and ACCG. This is actually great because before I started my new job, I spent a lot of time in the courthouse here on cases. So, and I don't have a picture of the courthouse, so this is great. But thank you. Just really quickly, I mean, this was just a good governance bill, but the credit really needs to go to a former member of the House who's no longer with us, Representative Jay Powell. Jay was from Camilla, Georgia, from way deep South Georgia. He was a mayor of Camilla and then eventually became state representative, chaired the Ways and Means Committee, and then ultimately chaired the Rules Committee. But Jay had a vision many years ago of passing this type of legislation that just basically says if we take a fee, we're going to do what we're going to do with it what we say we're going to do. A great idea, and unfortunately, about 2 years ago, tragically, Jay had a massive heart attack and passed away. And so it was for me to have the opportunity to finish this part of his legislative legacy was very special for me. But I just want to say thank you to my former colleagues and good friends, Senator Lindsey Tippins and Representative Don Parsons, and I enjoyed working side by side with y'all for the time I was in the General Assembly. I learned so much from both of you, and it's I guess I'll just take this chance to say thank you to everybody in Cobb County. I think I had a great 7-year run down there, and I tried to do a lot of good things, and it was truly a privilege. And every day that went by, every year that went by, I realized more and more and more what an honor and a privilege it is to be able to have the opportunity to just have this one little teeny slice of Georgia history, to be able to go down there, sit in the room, debate these issues, and cast votes. It's the most meaningful thing I've ever done in my life, and I'm so appreciative of it. And thank y'all. Thank you, commissioners and Madam Chair. And go Braves and go Jackets.
Okay, then we can join, take a picture down there.
I think the board's going to come down for the picture.
I love it. Can I get one of those pictures?
Just for you?
No, one of the ones that was taken. Yeah.
Well, do I have your email?
I've got it. If not, I can give it to you.
I'll text it to you.
I like that bird. Go Jackets and go Braves. Hey, we're not going there. All right, we have our second and third presentations I will provide. The first out of the two is to recognize October as Filipino American History Month. If those that are here for that proclamation are so willing, please join me up front. Thank you. I feel so underdressed today. It's beautiful. Good to see you. Some of you who I've seen many times before, but good to see you under these bright lights. Whereas more than 4 million Filipino Americans make up one of the largest Asian American ethnic groups in the United States today, and whereas the earliest documented evidence of Filipinos in the continental United States occurred on October 18, 1587, when mariners called Luzones Indios under Spanish command landed in Morro Bay, California, thus making October an appropriate time to promote and reflect Philippine history and culture. Whereas during World War II, more than 260,000 Filipino and Filipino American soldiers served under the American flag to make our victory possible and fought for the promise of a more just and inclusive America. More recently, Filipino Americans have continued to serve and sacrifice selflessly, working on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas the contributions of Filipino Americans have enhanced the freedom, prosperity, and greatness that America continues to enjoy today, and the customs and traditions of Filipino Americans are respected and celebrated as part of the rich history and diversity of our county, state, and nation. Now, therefore, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, proclaim October 2021 as Filipino American History Month in Cobb County and celebrate your stories, culture, and contributions to our community and in our state and our nation. This, the 26th day of October 2021. Congratulations. Would you like to share a few words?
Good evening. On behalf of the citizens, Golden Girls, and Boys of Cobb County, we want to thank, I'm not from Cobb County, but we want to thank you for this declaration. It is very important to us. I am the Filipino American History Month chair. This was my brainchild in 2019. We started celebrating it, and it's become a tradition in the Philippine community in all of Georgia. So we expect to do it again next year with a series of weekend events, and because of this, we will do something in Cobb County next year. Thank you so much.
This is the first. Cobb County is the first county that is declaring October as Filipino American History Month. The state of Georgia have declared it since 2019 with Governor Kemp, but I'm so proud to be coming from Cobb, and Cobb did it first on the county level. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you.
And I understand most of you do live in Cobb, as I've seen you at plenty of Cobb County meetings, so I'm honored. You're adopted Cobb County, we'll take that. So we'll line up here for our picture. And why don't we just swing a little bit so we can be in the center? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, our next presentation will be with the Omicron Mu Lambda chapter of A Phi A, Fraternity Incorporated. You can join me up front today. We are going to celebrate your 35th anniversary. Good evening. How are you? Good evening, Bill. Good to see you. I'm seeing some familiar faces under these masks. Good to see you. All right. We're all in? Okay. Whereas the Omicron Mu Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was the first historically Black Greek-lettered fraternity founded in Cobb County on April 16, 1986, and has upheld the fraternity motto of service to all as a guiding force throughout the Cobb County community for the past 35 years. And whereas the Omicron Mu Lambda chapter continues to conduct its mission to develop leaders and promote brotherhood and academic excellence while providing service and advocacy for our communities in its execution of the fraternity's national programs, such as Voteless People is a Hopeless People, Project Alpha, Go to High School, Go to College, and March for Babies. And whereas the Omicron Mu Lambda chapter supports local Boy Scouts of America troops with financial assistance, and created a business and economic development program. The chapter has also supported many more local programs to reach and impact the community in Cobb, such as YOUTH, Young Organizers United to Help, and Christmas with the Deltas. And whereas through the Henry Arthur Callis Education Foundation, the chapter annually awards college scholarships to deserving high school seniors entering post-secondary education, as well as supports youth leadership and development programs in Cobb County. Therefore, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby congratulate you, the Omicron Mu Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, on celebrating your 35th anniversary and for your continued service to the residents of Cobb County. This, the 26th day of October 2021. Congratulations. This is for you.
Thank you. My name is Curtis Cheeks. On behalf of our esteemed president of our chapter, Brother Arthur Fleming, our hardworking board, executive board, and over 100 members of the Omicron Mu Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, also known as the Cobb Alphas, I would like to thank the commission for this proclamation, and thank you all for allowing us to continue doing our service here in the community. So thank you so much. I also would be remiss if I wouldn't say that we have given our biennial report to all of the members, and please take a look at it, and thank you guys so much. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't ask our prior group. Did you want to introduce those who are with you today?
I'll let them introduce themselves.
Bill Chicks. Good evening. Rodney Adams.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Isaac Drumgool.
Evening, everyone. Willie Robinson.
Good evening, Ken Porter, charter member.
Good evening, Sims Gordon.
Good evening, Michael Hughes.
Good evening, Harold Dickerson.
Good evening, Bob Wise.
And a lot of these faces are familiar to us who serve in Cobb because many of the men of this organization serve actively in our civic and even some of our county boards and authorities. So thank you for being here. And gentlemen, if you can have some of these swing things.
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations, you're welcome.
All right.
Next up, we will have Commissioner Richardson with our next proclamation.
Members of the Order of the Eastern Star, chapter number 587, please come up. Awesome. All right. So, Foundation Chapter number 587, Order of the Eastern Star, was chartered on June 10th, 2011, and is under the jurisdiction of the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge and Prince Hall Grand Chapter of Georgia. And Foundation Chapter number 587 is a benevolent organization dedicated to charity, truth, and loving kindness. It strives to honor its pledge to those less fortunate and is focused on serving Smyrna and the greater Cobb community. And the organization's motto is Sisters Building the Foundation for Positive Change in the Community, reflecting its goal to be a leading women's organization for charity to the needy with emphasis on women and children. Foundation Chapter number 587 is affiliated with the following community businesses and organizations: City of Smyrna, Keep Smyrna Beautiful, Argyle Elementary School, Must Ministries, Books for Africa, Reflections of Trinity, NAACP Cobb County Branch, and Pruitt Health Austell, Marietta. And Foundation Chapter number 587 participates and donates regularly to several charitable causes each year: United Way, Lupus Foundation of Georgia, Winship Cancer Institute, American Cancer Society, American Red Cross and Community Food Banks, and it distributes $2,000 in scholarships to students annually. Now, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby recognize Foundation Chapter number 587, Order of the Eastern Star, for their 10th anniversary and thank them for continuing their contributions to the Cobb County community on this day, the 26th of October. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Good evening. My name is Sister Tamika Bryant, and I serve as the worthy matron of Foundation Chapter number 587. And with me today is our worthy patron, Michael Gaither, and our associate matron, Candace Frederick. On behalf of Foundation Chapter number 587, we would like to thank Commissioner Richardson and the entire Cobb County Board of Commissioners for this proclamation today. We are excited to be celebrating 10 years in the Cobb County community, and just this past weekend, we had our anniversary celebration and gave away the $2,000 worth of scholarships to Cobb County students. And we are just excited to be awarded this recognition. Thank you again.
Congratulations. Thank you.
It's like a heartbeat. That's the nerves of us waiting for the Braves game tonight. All right, in recognition of the Braves, you may have recognized that a number of us up here are donning our pearls in recognition of Jocktober, as we want to be able to bring as much good cheer to the Braves and wish them much success for the game later today. But with that, we are now moving into the public comment portion of our meeting. I'll turn things over to our County Attorney, Bill Rowling.
Thank you, Chairwoman. As we start with our public comment, there's a good opportunity for us to be reminded of the decorum during the BOC meetings. As the board provides the podium for public comment, it's appropriate to review these related meeting rules. Please state your name, and if you're speaking on behalf of an organization, all comments should be addressed through the chair. Public comment is not a dialogue with the board, but an opportunity to speak, to provide, for the public speakers to provide their comments to the board. The comments should not be impertinent, derogatory, offensive, or slanderous. To that end, the board encourages, regardless of the topic, for the audience to be respectful and courteous to the speakers. Everyone attending this meeting should give others the right to both listen and to be heard by treating each other with civility. Statements made during the public comment portion do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the board or the administration of Cobb government. There is a timer on the podium to keep track of the 5-minute timer, and I will also remind you after your time has expired as well. With that, Chairwoman, the first speaker is Hill Wright.
Hill Wright, good evening. I want to thank the chair for the enormous support and focus she has given to help her constituents that suffered the loss from the storm of the night of September 7th. The county immediately jumped into action with a robust communication plan to let folks know how to report the storm damage to Cobb County residents, had the best so the Cobb County residents had the best chance of getting aid. Then the state of emergency that the chair immediately declared brought the visibility needed to bring the focus needed. Great job. The county leadership jumped into action in the days immediately after the storm to hold the town hall and let people come to tell their stories so they could learn firsthand from the people. I can't tell you how much it meant to the people to be able to come express themselves in the town hall and be heard. Then the county presented such robust solutions to assure the people this won't happen again and provided great help to those impacted. The last time I spoke, I appreciated how much the chair understood the importance of the topic. Then when I finished, the chair's outpouring of love, respect, and concern for the people was so heartwarming to see. I can assure you that I talked to many people. They were so very impressed, they won't soon forget you. Unfortunately, none of this happened this way. But think how much better things would be for everyone if Cobb County leadership had been there for its citizens who are impacted and is still trying to cope. Now, I'd like to read a little something I wrote I think captures the situation pretty well. September 7th is a night emblazoned in our minds. A flash flood swept through our community, knocking us on our behinds. Gaps in the stormwater management ignored and dismissed for decades when a ticking time bomb exploded, leaving 1,000 grenades. Grenades that will one day detonate and drown us as an encore. Our elected officials must act now, lest there be a great uproar. Denied help at every turn, seniors in their golden years, young families just starting out, shattered dreams, we're left with fears. Some of us may lose our homes. We can't afford repairs. People look around and see the hurting humanity. When a lone voice cries out for help, our leaders do not hear, but they'll hear us roar together, standing for our community we hold dear. For we cannot just wait around, our community's at stake. We can't leave our neighbors holding the bag. Unite, for goodness sake. I hope you listened and understood the part about the poem that spoke about the grenades, because nothing about the way Cobb County manages stormwater is going to stop these grenades. We, the citizens, should not have to live in fear. I hope you heard the part about we can't leave our neighbors holding the bag, because that's exactly what Cobb County is doing to its citizens, leaving them holding the bag. While I do appreciate Commissioner Richardson's trying to help, so hard to help, she can't do it on her own. The crisis is something the full board must address. We will see if the leadership is up to the task and if the leadership is willing to listen, or if the leadership will just ignore everyone and hope it goes away. I promise we won't. The longer it remains unaddressed, the worse it's going to get. It's time for the leadership to sit down face to face and listen, engage, and hear our thoughts and our ideas on solutions. On another note, I respectfully request that you hold item number 26 on the agenda so the public may fully review it and provide input. Please do not vote on this tonight. Thank you.
The next public speaker is Rick Gerain.
Good evening. My name is Richard Guerin, and since 2019, I have served as chairman of the board of the Northwest Metro, affiliate of Habitat for Humanity, which serves Cobb, Douglas, and Paulding counties. I'm a resident of Cobb County. I want to thank the commissioners for the opportunity to speak to you today. On October 19th, this commission approved Habitat's request for a rezoning of a parcel on Hillcrest Drive pursuant to application Z65. What did we ask for? Habitat requested approval to build one additional home on its Hillcrest property. The land was zoned for 11 homes. We wanted to build 12 in order to give one more family on the waiting list an opportunity for home ownership. What we got was an approval with material stipulations that makes this entire project unaffordable for Habitat and the potential deserving homeowners. The bottom line is the zoning as approved, first of all, is not affordable housing as defined by HUD and the 2020 analysis of impediments to fair housing choice for Cobb County, Georgia, which was published by the Community Development Block Grant Office. Zoning as approved probably will prevent us from helping people who work in our county from realizing the dreams of their own home of owning a home in our county due to the increased costs associated complying with the commission's stipulations. And third, is likely to cause us to lose an unprecedented donation of $500,000 that has been pledged to build homes on the Hillcrest site. I had an opportunity to watch the hearing that took place last week, and there are a few places where I would like to add some context to your deliberations and the impact of your decision. There was a variety of discussion about the number of habitat homes, quote habitat homes, that are located in this particular district of Cobb County. I want to set the record straight that while we are very proud to say Habitat constructed these homes, they are by no means habitat homes. These are the homes of our community's most upstanding contributors: school bus drivers, single moms, sheriffs, teachers, 90% of whom come from communities of color that are the most deserving of an extra boost to become homeowners. Our homeowners are heroes, and they are constituents of this commission, and I find it reductive at best to suggest that the homes where these wonderful people have built their lives and raised their children are merely habitat homes. The commission discussed a variety of aesthetic upgrades to the construction of the homes in Hillcrest without any discussion of the fact that such upgrades add a substantial cost for our donors and homeowners. Despite our efforts to be interactive with the commission, we were not aware that these stipulations were being considered, so we were not able to address them at the last hearing. But the estimated additional cost burden for these enhancements is between $55,000 and $80,000 per home. Currently, the average Habitat home in Cobb County is 1,500 square feet, has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and no garage. The total construction cost, including land and development, is $160,000. In addition to the rising cost of labor and materials, here is how the commission's stipulations increase the cost of constructing a home at Hillcrest. An additional 300 square feet of heated space adds $38,000. Garages, $10,000. One side of brick, $5,000 to $10,000. Each 2-storied home is an additional cost of $20,000 over our ranch model. If we were to place this burden on our amazing Cobb County sponsors and donors who are already generously raising $110,000 per home, this would represent an extra 36% that has to be raised for each build and would reduce the number of builds that we can do each year. If we placing this burden on our homeowners, we would simply be asking too much from families already doing the unfathomably difficult work to build their lives on lower incomes. A typical mortgage payment would rise from $700 per month to $900 per month, and the value of these upgraded homes would no longer qualify them per HUD standards as affordable housing for homeowners in our target income levels. Let's be honest, the zoning as approved with the stipulations is simply not affordable housing by any standards. The commission's stipulations to buy back homes that are sold by the homeowner within 7 years of ownership is simply not feasible. Does the commission impose this requirement on middle and high income housing developers in Cobb County? Finally, there seems to be a substantial concern about foreclosure. To begin with, I find it very confusing if this commission has concerns about a single mother being able to afford her mortgage or to upkeep the community garden, that we would seek to solve this problem by making her home more expensive and less affordable. Further, in my 4 years of serving Habitat, we have initiated 0 foreclosures. What I am asking, I am respectfully asking that before you approve the minutes of these stipulations from the last meeting, you please reconsider the stipulations that were added to the approval of Habitat's rezoning.
Sir, your time's up.
Thank you.
And give us an opportunity.
Sir, your time has run.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Denny Wilson.
Good evening. My name is Denny Wilson. I didn't come here to address Habitat on Hillcrest, but I guess it's been dropped in my lap, so I need to address it. The 7-year buyback, I thought, was what Habitat told you guys they would do, not a stipulation that the commissioner put on them. That's something that they stood up here and said, that they would buy their homes back in 7 years. When you come into a community and you threaten a community and you tell them that no matter what, that you're going to build, and you talk to the community as if you're talking down to them, that they have no voice. I couldn't stand for that, and that's why I came before you. Had Habitat come into our community and talked to us like we were humans, we probably wouldn't have had a problem with it, even with the 53 already being there. But when you come and you tell us that regardless of what you say or how you feel, we're gonna build. And that's what I was told. Whether we get the zoning changed or not, we're building. So what I said to the Habitat person is, then you'll leave me no other choice but to let them know what Habitat has done in our community. And she took that as a threat. But I told her it's not a threat, it's a promise. I mean, I'll have to let the Board of Commissioners know that this is what has happened with the existing Habitat homes that we have. Me, myself, I think 1,800 square feet is a bit much. I mean, my home is 2,700 square feet. I have 1,350 at the top. I have a full basement, and it's 1,350 on the bottom. It's 4-sided brick with a carport. The VOC didn't put a stipulation on Habitat to build a garage. Habitat came to me with that stipulation, and they showed me the stip letter that they had sent, and they showed me the new plans of the homes that would have the garage. So we can't blame that on the VOC because they didn't do this. Habitat did. So anyway, I just wanted to make that clear. But what I came here tonight to talk about, though, was the South Cobb Redevelopment Authority. The South Cobb Redevelopment Authority has maintained the vacancy of Magnolia Crossing without a glimpse of development in sight. The same available for sale sign 6.5 years later still lingers over, this diamond in the rough in our neighborhood. It was rezoned for multi-use to allow purchase of an additional 39 acres for a total of 50 acres. The only progress on Magnolia Crossing have been landscaping projects, overdevelopment, community needs for housing, retail, and public safety facilities. There have been some detailed proposals provided and made available to the South Cobb Redevelopment Authority for development of this property to no avail. Deceit, delay, and deny has been the only attention our community has received from the South Cobb Redevelopment Authority. This property provides easy access to I-20/285 as well as 75/85 by way of either I-20 or 285. It's a 10-minute drive to downtown using Riverside Drive, and by using Riverside Drive to Camp Creek, it's a 20-minute drive to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And outside of these great features, it has the most beautiful view of the Atlanta skyline from anywhere in Cobb County. So my question to the Board of Commissioners is, why should a prized piece of property such as this sit undeveloped for so long? It's now time to call to action the development of this prized piece of property that has sat for so long undeveloped, with the potential to be one of the greatest developments in Cobb County from where it sits. And I've moved around and I've seen other development. I went over to Atlanta to West Side Park. I don't know if you guys have been there and saw what the city of Atlanta did with that piece of property. I mean, all I'm saying is that Magnolia Crossing.
Ms. Wilson, I'm sorry, your time's up.
All right, thank you.
Sabrina, now.
Commissioners, I'm Sabrina Mao. I'm a Cobb resident. And, oftentimes we have developers come into our town seeking seemingly to help us to develop our town. But ultimately, they're just looking for opportunity to enrich their own pocket, They don't really have our town's best interests in mind, at heart, especially when they are collaborating with HUD. Therefore, I'd like to ask the board, please remove item 26 from the agenda relating to HUD home funding. Please stop accepting such funding altogether. Such funding isn't free. It is still our tax dollars, and it comes too many strings attached that require certain percentage of affordable housing, even if we don't need such large number of housing. John Anthony, who is an expert on zoning law, gives an example of how signing onto such funding agreement can backfire. This small Whitehall, Pennsylvania town did not want to convert an unused building to low-income housing as suggested by the developer. The developer that is connected with the HUD called in HUD, and the town ended up with many lawsuits. And eventually, the town could not fight the federal government. They got stuck with large expenses, including paying the builder's fees. The citizens of Cobb County do not want our BOC, Board of Commissions, to get involved in such legal battle with the feds. Government agencies are like thugs when crossed. Recently, we have witnessed with great alarm that our BOC approving intense development crammed into low-density zoning. North Point Ministry project on Johnson Ferry Road and Presswork property on Floyd Road are two examples. The commissioners are not following the zoning laws. Such intense density with large, impervious surfaces created serious flooding. Numerous neighborhoods suffered such flooding last month. The destruction is often permanent and very costly. So we ask you to respect the people of Cobb County who want to keep local control of our low-density, single-family home suburban neighborhoods. We are asking you to not sign agreement that relinquish local control to the federal government and stop following the marching order of the Georgia Department of Community Affairs and the Atlanta Regional Commission. We don't need Soviet-style regional dictates and Soviet-style apartment buildings. Don't accept dangerous HUD funding. Stop the war on the suburbs. Help us keep our freedoms and quality neighborhoods that we want with the choices of where we want to live. Thank you for listening.
Hugh Norris.
Good evening, Commissioners. Hugh Norris, a Cobb resident of 25 years. I am also speaking on CDBG number 26. You know, our nation is based on three separate co-equal branches of government. Why is that? That's to provide checks and balances to the concentration of power, which we know leads to tyranny. Our nation is also based on the decentralization of authority, to provide the power and the decision-making to reside as locally and close to the citizenry as possible. This provides the citizenry the ability to determine how their individual communities are structured via mechanisms like local zoning, which the last speaker just mentioned. The communities choose their environment, how they live, as free as possible from government interference. two basic tenets of our country. Well, HUD, H-U-D, their grants are well known to fly in the face of these two basic tenets that I just stated. These grants also involve strings or conditions, which we just heard, which involve potential monetary penalties and vulnerabilities to lawsuits from many, many parties. They bankrupt communities. This concept of strings and conditions is also well known to all, including certainly this body of Cobb commissioners. This matter must be tabled until a full analysis of all the strings and conditions is completed and communicated to the Cobb citizens. This analysis must further expose and communicate to the Cobb citizens any infringements to Cobb citizen zoning rights, etc., etc. And HUD must agree in advance, in writing, to not impose any limitations or infringements. I have a question for the Cobb commissioners. Are we still the United States of America, a constitutional republic? Or are we being transitioned to a globalist dictatorial model? Very serious question. I hope you take to heart when you look in the mirror and say your prayers or whatever. Later tonight, another individual is going to show a very short video which just is so impacting. And it's going to show the insidious overreach contemplated by HUD and their globalist masters. Thank you, commissioners.
The next speaker is Dave McFarland.
My name is Dave McFarland. I'm speaking as a Cobb resident on item number 26. Anyone here like slavery? Anybody? Anybody here want to be a slave? Nobody? I'm here to tell you that if you accept HUD money, you will become a slave. Not a slave, a plantation slave, but a Marxist slave. Okay, I'm going to make another extreme statement. The Department of Housing and Urban Development is illegal. Why would I say that? Any money from the HUD is illegal. Why would I say that? Because of the 9th and 10th Amendments to the Constitution. The founders put those in there to stop exactly this. They knew that the bread and circuses were the tools of tyrants to consolidate power, as we've been talking about. And this is the best tool they have. They felt that those powers, health, education, and welfare, belong locally in Cobb County to the people and to the states. Why? Because they're 50 times more efficient, compassionate, and accountable. What's evidence of that? We just saw it. Do you know what it is? Do you remember? The guy from Habitat for Humanity, what did he say? We've built these little single-family homes. They own the homes. And they're beautiful, they're wonderful. The people changes their lives, and it works. Contrast that with another thing, maybe you've heard about it. The war on poverty. Trillions of dollars, trillions. Where did it go? In the trash heap. It was a disaster. What was the result? It destroyed families. It's called socialism. It's called Marxism. You don't believe that? Go to any Soviet bloc country and you see stacks and stacks of people stacked and racked in black, ugly, filthy places that nobody owns and nobody wants to be a part of. So I ask you again, do you like slavery? Do you want to be a slave? I know you don't. Ms. Campbell, Ms. Cupid, Ms. Litcherton, Ms. Sheffield, I know you're freedom fighters. Fight for freedom. HUD money is like crack cocaine. The first hit is free, but you'll never let go of it, and the strings will make you into slaves. Please don't accept HUD money and the strings, the chains, the handcuffs that come with it. Keep Cobb County free. You're freedom fighters. You're freedom fighters. You're freedom fighters. You're not into slavery. Thank you.
Chairwoman, that completes the first set of speakers for this evening's meeting.
Okay. All right, thank you, Bill. Commissioners, we will need a motion to add the non-agenda finance item regarding the World Series to the regular finance tab before we go into the consent agenda. The finance tab will follow the consent agenda prior to the transportation tab. May I get a motion for that, please?
Motion to approve item number 40.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question. Okay, the motion carries 5-0. Also would like to clarify that on the consent agenda, which has been scrolling before today's meeting and will scroll thereafter, item 25 has been pulled. And for those who are here with us, bear with me one moment and I will specifically share which item that is. Item 25 was to ratify previous action by the county manager approving the Brave Stadium Company's request for capital maintenance and repairs, and to further authorize a transfer from the Stadium Capital Maintenance Fund to the Stadium Construction Fund for the payment of approved items upon invoices submitted to the County Finance Department detailing the work which has been performed. Again, we will pull that from the consent agenda and hear that immediately after and then prior to the finance tab for the clerk's clarification. Okay. All right, so with that, I move that we approve the consent agenda as revised and authorize execution of the necessary documents by the appropriate county personnel. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, we'll call the question. All right, the consent agenda motion is approved, 5-0 by all commissioners. We will now have agenda item number 25, okay, and that'll be provided by our Finance Director, Bill Volkman.
Good evening, Chairwoman, Commissioners, County Manager. Item 25 was to ratify the previous action by the County Manager approving the Brave Stadium LLC request for capital maintenance and repairs. And this is to be paid out of the trust that is contributed to by the county and the Braves. This is part of a 30-year agreement, and the county's portion is capped. And these monies will have to be submitted to the county manager and the county for review and then approved. So this action has been approved by the county manager. So tonight, we are asking that the Board of Commissioners ratify the previous action by the county manager approving the Brave Stadium Company LLC's request for capital maintenance and repairs, further authorize payment from the Capital Maintenance Fund for the approved Capital Maintenance Fund items upon invoices submitted to the County Finance Department detailing the work performed, further authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the clerk to record evidence of such ratification in the official minutes.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this agenda item? All right, we'll call the question. All right, the motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
We will now move to the finance tab with another baseball-related item. And Bill, I presume you'll be presenting this one as well?
Yes, Chairwoman.
Okay.
So this item is to provide funding for the safety and security and other unbudgeted expenses associated with the 2021 Major League Baseball World Series. As we know, that the county has guaranteed at least 2 games that will be hosted in Cobb County, a possibility of a third. Those games will begin on October 29th and the 30th, and with a potential Game 3 on October 31st. So we do know that these World Series events are anticipated to be designated by the Department of Homeland Security as a special event assessment rating level 3, which indicates a heightened awareness status. So what we're asking the board to do is establish a contingency. Basically, we're going to appropriate fund balance in the amount not to exceed of $350,000 for a contingency related for costs associated with these games. So tonight, we're asking the Board of Commissioners to authorize the funding for safety, security, and other unbudgeted expenses associated with hosting the 2021 Major League Baseball World Series in an amount not to exceed $350,000, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Okay, so moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Just a matter of clarification for the impact statement. The incurred expenses will be shared as they occur. Will it be a final account afterwards?
It's absolutely, it's up to the board's preference. We can either provide you a weekly update and a finalized report. We'd be happy to do so.
Yeah, weekly, commissioners.
Yeah.
Commissioner Burrow? Yeah.
Yes. This is just for security and personnel, police, personnel, fire.
Yes, so we anticipate the possibility of several departments participating. Police, fire, obviously being the primary. Sheriff's office would potentially have some additional costs, as well as IS. Our information services will have some costs associated with the technology around the game itself.
Okay.
Thank you. If I may interject, will there be any other DOT incurred expenses?
We are establishing the contingency, so if DOT has additional costs, that those will be included, but we established an amount not to exceed. Most of this is what we've worked on throughout the day, and actually yesterday as well, so we anticipate a lot of this being personnel related. Additional overtime is really what we see. So when we had the All-Star related games, a lot of that was additional equipment. This is not that. There will be some small equipment costs, but most of it will be personnel related.
Okay.
Okay.
And if I can just add on the weekly report, can you include like the running total or how much funds have been spent week to week?
Absolutely. So actually what I plan to do is, since the games will possibly run through Sunday, is on Monday we can provide a summary of that information, maybe at the end of the day, and we'll give you a breakout by department, and then whether it's personnel, operating, and capital, and if there's any follow-up questions about any purchases, we'll be happy to provide that as well. Okay.
Are there any other questions? So just for clarity, the commissioner should expect some type of weekly report or update, and they will have public safety related, but there could be other departmental costs incurred, like DOT has been shared, and then there's some additional specificity that was shared in response to Commissioner Sheffield's question.
So I would assume a report by the end of the day on Monday or Tuesday at the absolute latest, giving you a summary of all 3 games, and we would provide that by department.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that we got 2 games. We're hoping we can cap it off in 2. But if we need a third, it will end with that. So it wouldn't be like a weekly report, because the World Series will be over, and by the time they come home, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it does include 911 and DOT as well, in terms of overtime. So I didn't want y'all to think that there's going to be an ongoing expenditure past the, hopefully, 2 games. But if there's a third, it will, once we get all that together, we'll give you a final report if you would prefer. If you want a daily one, we can do that. But probably by the time we get the data from the departments, it's the overtime, it'll probably be the end of the World Series. So just want to clarify that.
Thank you. I could just share, if we start getting close to that cap, possibly exceeding it, or if something, significant comes up that you perceive would be of interest to the commissioners, and that you should know based on your working with us, by all means, please let us know. But as County Manager pointed, for practicality's sake, probably a report on Monday or Tuesday seems to make sense.
Absolutely. Happy to do that.
Are there any additional questions? from commissioners? All right, we had a motion and a second. We'll call the question. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We are now moving to our transportation regular tab. Hey, Drew.
Good evening, Drew Ressler, Department of Transportation. DOT has 8 items for the Commissioners' review tonight. Our first item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the recommended ranking of the 3 most qualified firms for Austell Powder Springs Trail Scoping Study, Cobb County Project X2543, and authorize negotiations for final scope and services and fees, beginning with the top-ranked firm, Heath and Lineback Engineers Incorporated, utilizing selection process number 1, competitive negotiations.
Commissioner Sheffield.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? We'll call the question. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve an indemnification and hold harmless agreement with the Georgia Department of Transportation required to obtain an encroachment permit for Mableton Parkway pedestrian improvements, Phase 2, project number X2770, and authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Sheffield.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Similarly, our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve an indemnification and hold harmless agreement with the Georgia Department of Transportation required to obtain an encroachment permit for Austell Road Sidewalk, project number X2765, and authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Sheffield.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to the contract with Chatfield Contracting Incorporated, a savings to the project in the amount of $9,212.20 for drainage system repairs on Leafwood Drive, project number X2266, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Richardson.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll call the question. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to project number X2298 to the 2021 countywide unit price contract with Butch Thompson Enterprises Incorporated, the savings to the project in the amount of $79,971.03 for emergency drainage repairs on Winnie Hill Road, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Richardson.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners ratify a previous action by the county manager authorizing emergency drainage repairs on Woodmont Drive in response to a sinkhole and voids. Approve project numbers D2866 to the 2021 countywide unit price contract with Advanced Sports Construction LLC in an amount not to exceed $310,370 for said repairs. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Commissioner Burrow.
Drew, is this all of Woodmont? And is this going to cover 840 Woodmont that we've been getting calls on, the sinkhole area?
I don't have the exact address, but this is 891 Woodmont Drive. We'll check on that other address and see if it's covered under this project. If not, we'll action it into additional work orders.
Okay, because it was a sinkhole and drainage issue at 840.
840.
So it's got to be close, and it's got to, I would think, cover that issue.
We'll find out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we had a motion. Is there a second? Or was there? Great. Any additional discussion? I'll call the question. The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 to project number X2749, task order number 1 to the 2018 master task order contract with Lowe Engineers LLC, a no-cost time extension through December 31st, 2021, retroactive to February 9th, 2021, for engineering design of Hickory Grove Place sidewalk, and authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? We'll call the question. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. And our final item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 to project number X2764, task order number 2 to the 2016 master task order contract with Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated, a no-cost time extension through December 31st, 2023, retroactive to February 10th, 2020, for engineering design of Hillcrest Road sidewalk, and authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Sheffield.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? We'll call the question. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.
We are now moving on to our support services regular tab.
Good evening, Chairwoman, Commissioners, and County Manager. Our item this evening is a joint item with Human Resources.
Hold on for 1 moment. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. Our item this evening is a joint item with Human Resources to request the Board of Commissioners approve a sole source contract with Sum Total, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $567,063.77 for enhancements to our learning management system. 2016 SPLOS Project X0020. Authorize a 10% contingency in an amount not to exceed $56,706.38. Authorize the purchasing director to make purchases greater than $100,000 for the software, and authorize the corresponding budget transactions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There any discussion? Call the question. The motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are now on to our second public comment.
Yes, Chairwoman. The first public speaker that signed up is Patricia Hay.
My name's Patricia Hay, and I come from District 4, which is Mableton. And I just wanted to say, I was going to speak on something else, but now I think the HUD agenda item is what I should ask for you to please vote against it or pull it or something, because it's come to my attention and it sounds like it's really bad. What I really wanted to say was I wanted to talk about the COVID and the masking, and I wanted to ask you, is the masking, is it about our health and our welfare, or is it about control? I just wanted to throw that out there. And it's a sad day in America because the FDA has approved the vaccine for children 5 to 11. And I have to say this from the heart because I truly believe it will harm these children if you give this to them. So that's why I'm talking about it. And they've approved it. And I think it's wrong. I think it's going to hurt a lot of children and cause them to have a lot of problems and maybe deaths and a lot of things. And I just had to bring that up. It's a really sad time in our country when we're letting a few people rule our country. And it just saddens me. And that's all I really wanted to say. But please pull 26, or please consider it. Thank you.
Christine Rosman.
Can I do a video, please?
That's nasty, sorry.
But on July 16, 2015, AFFH became the basis for a new rule adding severe strings to housing and urban development grants. These new stipulations will shake the very foundations of your community. The people who control land use and zoning laws also control much of where and how you will live, the value of your home, and what it will cost to keep it. Right now, these are controlled by your community and your local officials who reflect your wishes. HUD is about to change that. Under the new AFFH regulations, if public officials or public housing authorities accept certain HUD grants, your community will lose control of local zoning and land use, and you can be forced to join a region whether you want to or not. And here's why. The Fair Housing Act of 1968 was created to end community discrimination and segregation. HUD housing grants led that battle. By 2015, the administration concluded not enough was being done to end America's legacy of housing discrimination and segregation. They concluded that HUD had not been aggressive enough in managing grant money at the local level. In response, the agency introduced a new regulation called Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing. Under AFFH, if you accept HUD's Community Development Block Grant, Home Investment Partnerships, Emergency Solutions Grants, or Housing Opportunities with Persons with AIDS, to assure fair housing compliance, the agency can control your land use, zoning laws, and force you to join a region. Here's how. HUD requires these grant applicants to complete an assessment of fair housing. This involves a house-by-house analysis of community data involving race, ethnicity, concentrated areas of poverty, and more. Next, you will list community resources such as better schools, jobs, transportation, housing, parks, and recreational activities. Finally, you will itemize any barriers that could make it harder for protected groups to access the community resources. HUD even provides a list of 40 barriers or contributing factors that must be reduced or eliminated to affirmatively further fair housing. Some are as normal as community opposition to affordable housing, current zoning laws, or failure to cooperate with a region, but they expect you to resolve these and to find more. To receive the grant money, you must also engage the public in completing your assessment of fair housing. That means civil rights advocates, affordable housing developers, community development organizations, and any interested members of the public must participate in identifying potential areas of discrimination. Applicants must use HUD's data tables and jurisdictional and regional trend maps to design your plan to remove the barriers and create an integrated and balanced lifestyle. By requiring your community to compare your demographics with those of the region, HUD assures that your zoning plans will coordinate with the regional zoning plans. This effectively annexes your community into the region. HUD's documentation clearly states this rule does not impose any land use or zoning laws on any government. But paragraphs later, the same rule says HUD will assist recipients to adjust their land use and zoning laws to meet their legal obligation to affirmatively further fair housing. So, while HUD does not personally impose new zoning laws, if you take the grant money, they obligate you to impose them. The legal obligation HUD refers to is a statement grant applicants must sign. Your jurisdiction agrees to take no action materially inconsistent with its obligation to affirmatively further fair housing. According to legal analysts, this statement establishes the basis for False Claims Act lawsuits by the Department of Justice or private individuals, and those lawsuits are growing. When a grant recipient fails to affirmatively further fair housing, HUD can respond with a compliance review, loss of grant money, or lawsuits. Lawsuits can also be initiated by third parties and the very same people that you invited to participate in your community's fair housing assessment. Here's an example. In August of 2015, a developer proposed 69 affordable housing units in Rockford, Illinois. The town council, the county board, and the public decided to build 49. Shortly after the decision, HUD received a complaint against Rockford for choosing the fewer housing units. HUD responded with a compliance review for potential civil rights violations, failure to affirmatively further fair housing, and a threat to refer the case to the Department of Justice. Public officials reversed the community's vote. HUD is receiving increasing numbers of third-party AFFH-related complaints, and lawsuits are forcing communities into line. Meanwhile, the new ruling is having other serious side effects. After thoroughly reviewing HUD's agreement, Officials of Douglas County, Colorado noted HUD's assessment of fair housing tool will negate the county's rights and seriously hamper our ability to manage local affairs. The court in their Westchester
Osmond,
County
your
versus
time
HUD
is up.
decision offered a solution to HUD's tactics.
The next public speaker is Monica Delancey.
Good evening, Monica Delancey. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight. Basically, the first I want to discuss is just to give some updates. I got two good calls today from two residents who did say they received assistance from Star C. And so they were very grateful, even though they said there was a wait, but it was worth the wait because both of them said they got their back rent paid as well as their rent going forward for a couple more months. So definitely going to keep them housed throughout the new year, right? And one of the residents said that she just became employed. So that's really going to help her as well. So I just wanted to mention that. Also want to do a special thank you. Did you find it? Don't worry about it. Okay. I also want to do a special thank you to Zion Keepers. Zion Keepers is doing phenomenal work. Not only are they getting their checks processed really fast for COVID-related hardships, but they also are out in the community informing people about their tenant-based rental assistance programs, as well as last Monday, they came out to Kingsley Village and gave out gift cards to families. And I just wanted to make sure I wanted to note that. And on that day as well, Dr. Dana Giles from Pembroke High School, not only did she come to Kingsley Village, but she also came to visit Sierra Forest. She invited out the social worker, Ms. Kimberly Chen, also the community and schools representative, and they came out and talked to parents because last week was an early release day on Monday. But they came out not only to talk to parents that attend Pembroke High School, but they talked to parents in the feeder pattern. And Dr. Giles informed the parents that Pembroke High School is a community school. So whatever resource they have to provide is for everyone. And even your child is not enrolled in Cobb County School District, she opened up the door to say, hey, whatever you need from Ms. Chen, whatever you need from the community schools, that school is there for that. Pembroke High School is there for that. And so I want to make sure I just noted that Dr. Giles is doing phenomenal work as well by going out into the community. And she will do it again. She states in December, we're going to go to the village of Six Flags. And also I wanted to mention that last week, our high school graduation tests were released. And I was going to post the scores, but I can do it off memory. And the high school graduation rates were released. And if you have not had a chance to look at those rates, I want you to look at the fact that, yes, Pebblebrook did have some gains, I believe 2%. South Cobb, Pebblebrook High School, Osborne High School, 3 high schools that sit in South Cobb area is not yet performing at 80%, 85%, right? Those schools have the lowest graduation rates for Cobb County, but it's also the schools that are in high transit areas, meaning that we have not only are apartments located in the areas, but also rental properties is located in the area. And then the schools with the highest graduation rates, I'm talking about 90% and above, they have less than 20% rental property in their areas, okay? And also another factor I was able to see from the scores that Palace Springs High School McEachern High School in Palace Springs have the majority of the students enrolled are minority, but they are performing at 88% high school graduation rate. Also, when you look at that, you do look at the fact there is more opportunities for home ownership in that area. So this comes back to housing, because even though we're looking at building more housing opportunities in the South Cobb area, but still those students are only able to attend schools with graduation rates less than 80%. So to even have the opportunity to go to a school that's performing at 90% above, those schools, attendance zones, housing started low $900,000. Low $900,000. So we do need to be more intentional, Not just looking at the fact, yes, we're bringing in home ownership, but look at the fact that, no, we don't have to saturate the South Cobb area. Let's give opportunities all over Cobb County. Just because someone is paying $900,000, do you think they really want to pay $900,000? So let's look at that. Let's look at the fact that it's not just addressing low income. We have to really be intentional of increasing wages, okay? And so that's what I want to share now tonight. Again, next month, November is Parent Involvement Month. And on November the 6th, I will be hosting a parent engagement workshop via Zoom. Contact Monica DeLance if you'd like to be a part of that conversation. Thank you again. Good night.
Matthew Stegall.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Matt Stegall, and I've been living in Cobb County for over 30 years. And my son was even born here in Kennestone Hospital, and I really do look forward to seeing him grow up here in the community. I would like to start off by saying go Braves. It's so awesome that we're going to our first World Series in over 20 years, and it's even more great that we're able to host them here in our county. I'll be quick because we all have a game that we need to catch. I remember when it was announced that the Braves were coming here. A lot of people in Atlanta, they didn't like the decision because the Braves were leaving the city. A lot of people in Cobb didn't like that they were even coming here. Even Braves fans didn't really like the decision because they just don't like change. And I told everyone to just give it a few years, give it 5, 10, 15, 20, and, and see what we're able to do and see what's able to happen. And the one real big takeaway is that it's put a spotlight on our community. And now that we're in the World Series, all the eyes in the world are kind of looking at Cobb County right now. And in my opinion, it's probably one of the biggest stages that this county's ever been on. So with that opportunity, I would like to use that opportunity to talk about the need to start investing in a world-class transit system. And with some of the deadlines approaching, I understand that might seem like we're in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs, but we do have a generational opportunity next year to step up to the plate. The question is are we going to bunt or are we going to swing for the fences? As an appointed member of the Transit Advisory Board and my position on the MSPLOS Committee, I reviewed every iteration of the Comprehensive Transportation Plan so far. In each of these iterations, we are missing the opportunity to cast a vision of transit that goes beyond the fiscal constraints of the upcoming referendum. By combining the Comprehensive Transportation Plan with the preparation for next year's referendum, we are overly limiting the aspirations and vision of the future of transit in this county. Every version of the Comprehensive Transportation Plan that has been shared so far has been limited by the funds raised by the referendum next year. In addition to that limitation, the assumptions used to determine the available funds have been overly conservative. Our planning for HB 930 might need to take in those assumptions, but our planning for the Comprehensive Transportation Plan can incorporate much more ambitious funding estimates. Now, I fully believe that the Department of Transportation and all the contractors involved are doing the best they can, but they're using, but they have limitations based on the current guidelines, and some of those guidelines have been put on by the previous commissioners' administrations. So what I'm asking is that the chairwoman and the other commissioners in support, can we do more? Can we see a plan that takes into account other funding sources? Can we see a plan that focuses on providing county-wide high-frequency transit that provides better mobility within the county and throughout the region? And can we see a plan that provides the transit we need as our county continues to grow? I'm not saying that we need to put the current plans in the trash can, like the Astros would love to do, but can we make sure that as we step up to the plate to expand our transit, that we're able to hit a home run? Thank you. Go Braves.
Paulette Smith.
Hello, how are you doing? My name is Paulette Smith. I've been living in Cobb County for over 30 years. I love this county, and I was able to raise 4 very successful children here. And I thank you for allowing me to speak, Chairwoman. And I would also like to waive my time with Christine Rosman to finish her film about
Ms. Smith, we have a policy, you're not allowed to waive your time to somebody else. It's you're be able to speak.
Okay, well then I will go on. I'm sorry.
Ability to manage local affairs. The court in their Westchester County versus HUD decision offered a solution to HUD's tactics. The court assumes that applicants for federal grants have read and understood the obligations before signing the agreement. Therefore, the court decided, if a party objects to a condition on the receipt of the federal funding, its recourse is to decline the funds. Under affirmatively furthering fair housing, the government's demand for balanced and integrated living patterns forces communities into regional living, impedes local rule, and supersedes community decisions. Public officials must please say no to regionalism and no to HUD grants that are affected by affirmatively furthering fair housing. Thank you.
Yes, and one of the things that is on my heart deeply, I would like to ask the question to the board. What are you doing for the elderly community? Because what happens is, in the time frame of when the elderly, just say back in the 60s, their paycheck was much less than what people make today. And now they have their homes and their homes are paid for. The taxes keep going up. And then what they paid for their mortgage now is being accelerated by the taxes. And as they get older and they need to, downsize, where do they go? How are they able to afford the living, the gas prices that are rising, the food prices, and everything else? What is Cobb County doing concerning the elderly? Thank you so much. And do have a wonderful, blessed weekend. And I said, go Hawks, go. Along with the Braves.
It's hard for me to read this. I'm sorry, Ms. Brashy, Van Brashy. Van Brashy? Okay.
Long day. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here again to talk about a project that the Senior Citizens Council is working on, and I think I gave each of you a copy of our survey, and after listening to the discussion about transportation and the gentleman who was before us about transportation, maybe we can just shed a little light on some of the facts. And we have conducted the survey, but when we began this earlier in the year, so many things have happened, including the fact that I have been privy to conversations with community people and some of our leaders on some of the issues concerning transportation for our seniors who are handicapped using paratransit and so forth and so on. But I don't want to waste the work of my board members on this survey that they did, and then we can go back to the other issues. What we have found that more than 2/3 of all participants would consider using alternative transportation. The average age who answered this survey, they were 73 years old. So we're really dealing with the seniors, not the baby seniors 55. We're dealing with serious seniors here. And then more than 3/4 of the participants would be willing to pay a sales tax for new transportation options. We were a little surprised at that. We also found that the majority of seniors would consider using alternative transportation if they became disabled, but they were not really aware of what services there were. More than 2/3 of the survey participants, they lived outside of the Cobb County transit system. And that's a big concern because several members on my board have to have family members drive them to our meetings because they can't get a direct line to the wellness center. And that's extremely disturbing. In fact, it was ironic one time I was speaking here and a person who had been a tax assessor who served on our board was going to give some testimony about the millage tax, but she couldn't come because she couldn't get transportation here. And it was an issue that made us decide that we would deal with transportation first as far as the issues concerning Cobb seniors across the board. We found that more than half lived in Marietta, of which most zip codes identified and near Main Street are outside of the Cobb Transit route. And if you look on overall, a lot of the seniors are still driving, but some of them still shouldn't. I have a neighbor who's 92 years old, and he's still driving. And the reason why he's driving because he has no other way to get back and forth to the store, except maybe some of us would help or something like that. And so we are really concerned about how we are going to help the seniors get around, or anybody else really who need transportation. If there are any questions, we'd like to work closer with the Board of Commissioners on these issues, and we'd be glad to show our information and how we obtained it to develop policy on these issues. So I thank you for that, and I thank you for this time. And that's it, really. Oh, there was one more thing. We did talk on the telephone call about people being stranded by Cobb services and Power Transit in particular. And it was stated that it's because of the COVID and that there were no workers to do this. I came into Cobb Senior Council in 2016. That was an issue then, that the services were not adequate. In fact, it's to the point that Cobb Senior
Ms. Van Brackle, I'm sorry, your time's up.
Council. Okay, I'll finish it the next time, but we are really concerned about that.
Chairwoman, with that, that concludes the second portion of our speakers this evening.
I believe we have one appointment for our appointment tab, and I will defer to Commissioner Burrow.
Yes, I would like to announce the reappointment of Joan Bloom to the Neighborhood Safety Council. I'm sorry, Neighborhood Safety Commission.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Our next, moving on to the Commissioner's public address. We will begin with Commissioner Gambrill.
Okay, and before I start my slides, since the Braves are playing in the World Series against the Astros, Cobb County Libraries reached out to the Houston Public Library to see if they'd be interested in a book spine poetry slamming contest. And it's game on. While the first pitch for the game for tonight has been thrown, Cobb Library has posted their first poem and are looking forward to more book spine poems to come. Go Braves and go Cobb Libraries. You can follow the shenanigans on Instagram or Twitter under Cobb County Library and the Houston Public Library. Okay. So the West Cobb Senior Center will host a free Halloween Hoopla drive-up event from 2 to 2:30 p.m. on Thursday, October 28th. Advanced registration is required. You can pull up to the front doors of the West Cobb Senior Center and get a cup of Witch's Brew and a free Halloween goodie bag. Come dressed in costume and get a special treat. This is hosted by Atherton Place. You can register online at myactivecenter.com The center is located at 4915 Dallas Highway in Powder Springs. Next slide. Aaliyah, Deidre, Ryan, and I participated in the second annual Fall Festival of Fun drive-through style, which was a tremendous success. Cobb County Parks presented a fabulous drive-through experience on Saturday that hosted over 8,200 adults and children. Next slide. Throughout Jim R. Miller Park, families enjoyed 28 vignette scenes that were marvelously designed for music, characters, and lighting. A few scenes included Beetlejuice, Scooby-Doo, and Jurassic Park. The parks team gets all the credit for the amazing creativity. Most of the staff were costume and character that evening, including the pirate on the ship that was firing cannons. The drive-through experience ended with the Candy Fairies handing out over 3,700 Atlanta Braves, again, go Braves, bags filled with yummy treats and fun trinkets. It proved to be a great evening of smiles, laughs, and even a little car dancing by kids, as well as parents and admin assistants. Next slide. Our town hall for Cobb Mobility Splost will be next Thursday, November 4th from 6 to 8 p.m. This will be held at the North Cobb Regional Library located at 3535 Old 41 Highway Northwest in Kennesaw, Georgia. The purpose of this town hall is to provide information on the Cobb Mobility Splost. We look forward to seeing you there. We had another successful Gambrel's Great Pumpkin Day event last weekend. It was our third annual day to help raise money for Safe Path Children's Advocacy. This worthy local organization helps children who are victims of abuse, neglect, and trafficking. Thank you to all the constituents who brought donations of boys size 5 to 12 clothes, toilet paper, face masks, and teen clothes for boys and girls. Thank you to the Fire Department, Cobb County Police Department, and the Sheriff's Office and other groups who partnered with Safe Path to protect children in our community. And lastly, a special thank you goes to all of our departments who created pumpkins to help raise over $800 for Safe Path. The winner for this year's Great Pumpkin Decorating Contest goes to, it's pumpkin number 2, which is a day at North Georgia State Fair by the Cobb Parks. That was the first place winner and raised $563 for Safe Path. The runner-up was pumpkin number 6, which was Dino Shell, submitted by the Board of Commissioners on behalf of Ryan, thank you, which raised $137. And in third place, we have pumpkin number 5, which was Monsters, Inc., which was contributed by Community Development and raised $92. Congratulations to all the entries and special congratulations to all the winners. Awards will be given out on the November 18th meeting at 7 p.m. and we look forward to having all of you up here with us along with Still Family Farms and Safe Path. Thank you and have a safe and bewitching Halloween.
Great job, Commissioner. All right, next up, Commissioner Richardson.
All right, go Braves. They made it to the World Series over the weekend. They're playing their first game tonight. I hear they're up 2-0. Yay! And let's keep rooting them on. And when they come back here, let's win that game too. Call it done. Okay, next slide. MSPLOS, so this is from the office. MSPLOS Town Halls, ours will be November 2nd, 6 p.m. at Sewell Mill Library. And at this town hall, we'll provide information about what the mobility SPLOS are looking like, what the different analyses have come back from staff, and of course, looking for your input. We'll discuss the possible referendum, data from the Comprehensive Transportation Plan, and look for your input on these options. So looking forward to seeing you there, and please dress warmly because we'll be at the amphitheater. Next up, I believe last week, I don't know, time kind of runs together, but 2 weeks ago, we had our town hall for the flooding aftermath. The recording is available, one of the QR codes, and we also have a survey that's still running as well. As you know, we're looking for a lot of different options to pursue with these issues, and so we do encourage members of the community to please complete that survey and pass it along to your neighbors because we can't reach everyone. Next, coming up, so we have the second Sustainability Environmental Advocacy Project meeting coming up this Thursday. That is in 2 days at 7 p.m. This sustainability group, Archdiocese of Atlanta, will be presenting on sustainability, environmental degradation, and what we can do about it collectively. Register for the event using the link at the QR code, and certainly you can find everything on the d2cobb.com website that we've got going on. Community updates. WorkSource Cobb Power Up Apprenticeship Program. Applications for WorkSource Cobb's Power Up Apprenticeship Training Program are now open. Power up your skills with this hands-on skills training program where you'll learn industry-recognized certifications and mechatronics, industrial maintenance, and forklifts. There are no costs for Cobb County residents, and you earn a weekly stipend. It's a win-win. Sewell Mill Library, decorate a pumpkin. Until the end of this month, you can stop by Sewell Mill Library in October and decorate a paper pumpkin to hang in the children's department. This is intended for children of all ages with a participating adult. For more information, call 770-509-2711. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Burrow.
Thank you. The first slide is an event that we are hosting with U.S. Veterans Affairs and the Georgia Department of Veteran Services. We're coming together to honor women veterans. With Veterans Day coming up, there are a lot of veteran events on November 6th, but we hope you will join us at Jim Miller Park Event Center from 1 to 3. We have some fantastic speakers women veterans who will tell their experiences, and we would love to have you join us. It is free, a free event, and you can register with the QR code on the flyer, and there's some out on the table. We are also offering free vaccines that day as well, but you do need to register. Keep Cobb Beautiful is from 9 to 1 on Saturday, November 13th. We'll have their on-site paper shredding and recycling event for electronics, metals, textile, and household goods. And also accepting the Hefty Energy Bag program. So you can visit Keep Cobb Beautiful, cobbcounty.org/Keep Cobb Beautiful for more information. We had a very successful adopt-a-thon at the animal shelter last Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we had the trailer outside so that you didn't have to have an appointment. And we had over 70 animals adopted, which is huge. So thanks to Cobb County Animal Services staff, the volunteers that came and helped. I know Ryan and Kim went and helped, and Inger. And also a big thank you to the folks who adopted dogs and cats for Forever Homes. Truckapalooza is coming to Town Center Mall Saturday, November 13th from 9 to 2. There'll be all kinds of cars and trucks and police motorcycles, SWAT trucks, fire trucks, a fun family event, and be sure and take all the kids because this is a fun event that they will love to do. Yay, long-awaited groundbreaking for the new and improved Gritters Library, located at 880 Shaw Park Road in Shaw Park, Marietta. And the groundbreaking is set for Tuesday, November 30th at 1 p.m. And we will have renderings of the new gritters that will be on site, and would love to come give y'all a tour and help us break ground. Superior Pets for Patriotic Vets. This is a program that I started about 4 years ago. It's sponsored by Superior Plumbing, and it pairs shelter animals from Cobb with our animal shelter, dogs and cats with veterans at no charge. And most of you probably know, but the VA spends around $7.5 billion a year on health care services, and roughly 22 post-service warriors commit suicide each day. To alleviate the emotional scars that plague our nation's finest while securing a forever home for our shelter dogs and cats. Superior Pets for Patriotic Vets will match companion pets with local veterans. To date, 198 shelter animals have found new forever homes. You can visit the shelter at 1060 Al Bishop Drive, fill out a form, and adopt your new best friend. Happy Halloween, stay safe, and our police have a lot of tips for being safe while you're trick-or-treating that you can find in my newsletter. Condolences to the family of Colin Powell, who served as our U.S. Secretary of State, who passed away, and we just offer our condolences to a great American hero. And last but not least, this is Braves country. Go Braves!
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Sheffield.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right, District 4 news and updates. National First Responders Day. Thursday, October 28th is National First Responders Day. In 2017, Congress designated this day to honor firefighters, police officers, EMTs, medical personnel, and National Guard members. These heroic men and women take immediate action when disaster strikes by putting their lives on the line to keep people safe. I encourage you to take time to thank a first responder for their service and being an essential part of our community. A special thanks to Cobb DOT, District 4 residents, and Keep Cobb Beautiful's Dawn Smith, and our Keep Cobb Beautiful appointees, Jeff Paget and Monique Jenkins, and of course, Deidre, for assisting in the Austell Marietta cleanup on Saturday, October 16th. We collected 1,320 pounds of litter along the east-west connector from Powder Springs Road to Austell Road. Please, let's continue to work collectively to keep our communities clean. Visit cobbcounty.org to volunteer with Keep Cobb Beautiful and to report litter, vandalism, and graffiti. Our nuthatch birdhouse installation, I had the pleasure to join Roberta Cook and members of the Riverline Historic Area Organization this past Saturday to install 4 nuthatch birdhouses at the Henderson Road Historic Nature Preserve. The preserve is off Veterans Memorial Highway near Henderson Road and will be the future home, fingers crossed, of Henderson Park. Nuthatches are omnivores and eat mostly insects, nuts, and seeds. They search for insects hidden or under bark by climbing along tree trunks and branches. So the nature preserve will make for the perfect home for our 2-winged neighbors. Thanks to Roberta and her team, the birds now have 4 new places to call home. To learn more about the Riverline Historic Area Organization and their efforts, please visit riverline.org. We have an upcoming community event in the Osborne community area. It's our trick or treat. Join me on Saturday, this coming Saturday, October 30th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the Osborne Community Trunk or Treat. The Legacy at West Cobb, Cobb Neighborhood Safety Commission, Cobb Police, and local faith-based organizations will provide hot dogs, drinks, trunk or treat candy, and other refreshments. Face painting, games, and additional activities will be available for families to enjoy. Cobb Fire will bring their fire trucks, and the Sheriff's Office will also partake in the fun. The event will be held at the Cobb Innovation and Tech Academy located at 114 Windy Hill Road in Marietta. Hope to see you there. District 4 has a town hall meeting scheduled for November 10th. At our upcoming meeting, Cobb County Police will introduce their technology, and the organization introduce new technology, and the organization is currently utilizing to help solve and prevent crime. Join Deputy Chief Police Van Hooser and learn about the latest technology and safety measures to help keep all of us safe. DOT will also join in the town hall to present an MSPLOS update and to solicit community input for the MSPLOS referendum. I look forward to seeing you on November 10th at 6:30 at the Public Safety Training Center in Austell, and refreshments will be served. Mark your calendars for our Path to Home Ownership Summit. On November 20th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., we are hosting our very first Path to Home Ownership Summit. Wealth building is not the only benefit to owning a home. Home ownership will stabilize families, boost the educational performance of children, and help to achieve upward socioeconomic mobility. We will have industry professionals to include budget and credit counselors, mortgage consultants, realtors, and others. Register today to start building wealth, stabilize your family, and strengthen our communities. Contact deidre.watts@cobbcounty.org for the registration link. And finally, our In the Zone meeting. Please join me and District 4 Planning Commissioner Michael Hughes for our monthly In the Zone meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for tomorrow, October 27th at 7 p.m. Our monthly zoning meetings are a great way to connect with your community, learn firsthand about zoning applications and potential development in your community. Again, please email deidre.watts@cobbcounty.org for the meeting link. Hope to see you there. Thank you. Oh, and go Braves.
Everyone is headed to the door. So I will spare everyone tonight and entertain you with a Halloween joke and then the final Go Braves of the night. The spirit of Halloween, why was the skeleton sad at the prom? Because he had nobody to dance with. Anyway, oh, come on, guys. It's been a long night. I'm not going to make it much longer. We're excited to know the Braves have made it to this point, and we wish them a successful evening tonight, and hopefully we can all tell the story tomorrow. Have a good evening. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.